What is going on, family? It is your brother, your friend, your cousin, your uncle, whatever you want to call me. It's Prophet Briggs. I'm here back for our final midweek of March with our Ecity midweek, Ecity midweek pour. We are closing out our sermon series, Family Matters. And while you're coming in, while you're coming in, I need you to like, I need you to comment, and I need you to share. You can tell us where you're looking, where you're watching from, where you're streaming it, and we'll definitely see you and we'll greet you as you come in. We would like to thank our apostle, Francesca Stubbs, for having us on her OTN network, and everybody that's watching on there. We like to say hello and good night to you guys. We also would like to thank our senior leader, Prophet Felton, for allowing us to come on and to be able to share this space and to be able to speak to the people, speaking therefore to the people. Amen. So listen, tonight we have a special thing going on. We're going to have a conversation. You know, we started off this sermon series, Family Matters, with a conversation, and we're going to end with a conversation here on our Wednesday night pour, our midweek pour, and I get to do it with some of our members here at Emergency, some of our leaders here, and I'm so grateful that they thought it not robbery to come on here and to have this conversation with little old me. Amen. We're going to recap. We're going to have a nice recap of the whole sermon series, Family Matters. And as you're coming in, you can start to write in the comments anywhere that any highlight that you got, any insight, any enlightenment that has brought some type of some clarity to vision, or that help make decisions in certain things. Because I know that this sermon series has definitely been a heart tug, definitely been something that caused you to have to really examine yourself. If you did not do introspection at least 3 times during this series, then I need you to go back and rewatch these videos and rewatch these lessons, because when I tell you the introspection was real, I had to look at myself, I had to look at what was around me, and I had to look at my family, you understand? And also I had to look towards the future. So again, we're about to have a nice recap of everything that has gone forth so far in the month of March with this sermon series, Family Matters. And I get to bring on my lovely co-hosts, I want to say, to join me in the pit. And we're going to get this conversation going. So we have our Prophet Joseph, we have our brother Jay Sean, and we have our sister Tiffany. And we're going to have this great, grand old recap about what's been going on here in the month of March in this sermon series, Family Matters. What is going on, guys? How you guys feeling?
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, University family?
Good evening, fam. How y'all doing?
Listen, I'm excited to have this recap with you guys. Have this conversation. Just to start us off. Listen, what did you guys get from this the sermon series? Like, what has it blessed you? Has it cut you? Has it caused you to do introspection? Like I was saying, like what have you gotten from this?
I would say I definitely wanted to fight a few times, because I definitely got offended. This teacher series is definitely amazing. Definitely brought a lot of insight to me, even some personal healing of some areas and wounds from my childhood, clarity of myself and my manhood and my identity. Like you said, I did a lot of introspecting, but one thing I've learned is how to heal a little bit. How to heal a little bit more than I thought I did from, things I went through as a child, things I didn't receive in the household, things I never received in my identity. So definitely some healing.
Come on, y'all jump in.
What's going on?
I mean, this series was a lot for me. To be honest, tell you the truth. It was a lot of ouch moments, a lot of moments where like I had to go and check myself and understand that like I'm not as mature, or I'm not as grown as I say that I am, because I think sometimes I got to the point where I think, oh, just because I'm older that I'm grown, but understand that I'm not. Yeah. Understand that I'm just like, I have a lot of maturing to do in this season. You understand? Like, it really hit deep. Also, the aspect of like my childhood and the things that even growing up in a home with both parents, understand that my parents didn't have everything. They didn't know everything, and they was learning as I basically grew up with my parents. You understand? So they was learning as I was growing up. They were growing. I was growing with them. So understanding that they didn't have everything, and not everything was. Not saying they didn't have everything, but like they were learning as I was learning some stuff. You know, it was just a deep series. I'm just telling you, it was a deep series, and I thank God for this series because understanding this series, like I really had to check myself because I know for sure that Jay Sean Green has a lot of maturing to do.
Whew. That's the word. Grow up.
Definitely.
And mature. I think that's the word we've been hearing this whole sermon series. Maturity. So, Sister Tiff in her lovely mansion.
Yes, I'm over here manifested. I would definitely say the maturity part, especially with the emotional and the spiritual maturity, it really hit home for me. It's been something that I've been dealing with, struggling with in this past year. Definitely snatched all my edges, as I will always say. And the series that Prophet Lene did about the adoption, that really hit home for me because like I like just listening to the sermon, like I felt the love coming from that sermon. And you know, when she was like, you know, Jesus is our brother. And I was like,
wow,
no, he really is. Like I really had to like think about it because God is our father. And Jesus is his son. So if we're children of God and we're his daughter, that means Jesus is our brother. So for me, I was like, oh, like that really it really hit home for me, and it brought such comfort and it brought such joy. But definitely the emotional maturity, spiritual maturity, the person that wants to give all the help but doesn't want to take help, yeah, that's me. That was, let me say it, let me rephrase it, that was me. And so that for me really just like, oof, it shook. I was like, oof, I was like, oof, I was like, oh, I was like, hold the phone, like I was just, the whole room was shaking because I was just like, all right now.
It's definitely crazy how a series about family causes us to look at ourselves. You would think that it would give you an opportunity to blame somebody. Like, you know what? It was you that made me feel this way. You is what you didn't say, what you didn't do that put me in this position. But what this series really did is made you look at yourself and was like, all right, you, even though you may have seen something that may have contributed to how you respond now, what are you going to do about it now? What are you going to change about it? Are you going to allow it to keep you in this little immature space, or will you grow up? Like I feel like that's definitely been like the background theme of this whole Family Matters is about just growing up and that maturity. And so even just going into this, how has what about family has this sermon series touched, like that brought more awareness to your spiritual growth?
I'm like, one thing about this family aspect thing that I learned during the series is, because you even said it, like, and when you had a conversation with Prophet Felton, about just letting people in, understanding that I'm not alone. You understand that one thing about me, I try to do everything alone because I'm only child. First of all, I'm only child, and then I had to learn to accept family. You understand? Accept that the people around me are the people that God placed in my life has become my family. You understand? They have become part of me, and then that understanding to accept them, and then also understanding that like they can hold me accountable in places like you said about having a battle buddy, like having a battle buddy. These people are my battle buddies. Understand, they're not only my family, they're my battle buddy. So they help me keep accountable. They're in this fight with me. I'm not alone. One thing about this is I keep thinking that I'm alone, but understanding that I have family. And then when you have family, that they're in this with you and they won't let you fail. And also that I am accountable for them. I am my brother's keeper and I am my sister's keeper. That's really what I got.
Man, that right there, letting you know that you're not by yourself, even though in the midst of war, especially when you're in like a skirmish, it feels like all of the blows are coming straight to you. No, I have people that's with me, that's taking these blows with me, and that's very key. That's definitely very key.
Yeah, I would say it taught me the aspect of what family should be, and in the essence of it's not for me growing up. I don't know if anybody ever went through this. I used to love Disney Channel, and I was always used to compare myself and the family I always dreamed of to what I would see on TV. You know, people sitting down on the kitchen table, the dad playing catch with the son. You know what I'm saying? Like helping him ride his bike. All these things that I felt like I missed growing up, and it brought me into a realization of what family is, what the foundation of what a family is supposed to be, the structuring of what a family is supposed to be, and not just in the essence of like in essence of it biblically and what God wants for family, how God wants a father to be, how God desires a mother to be, how God desires a brother to be, a sister to be, you know what I'm saying? And you broke all those things down, and you taught us what each one is. You know, brother is supposed to be like the fence, the sister's supposed to be the steps to the house, is make sure it's safe. The father's supposed to be that authority, you know what I'm saying, making sure they teach them and give them the identity. And then the mother is supposed to be like the nurturing, the caring one. So it definitely helped me see family better, and also now seeing the family and the dynamics of it and the structure, it was able to help me heal in areas where I was like, okay, I didn't get that, but I didn't get that because my parents didn't receive it. You know what I'm saying? It gave me, a greater understanding of like, okay, now I can heal for my parents. Now I can pray for them. Now I can forgive them. And it just kind of brought a lot of closure to me, even on a greater level of like, I can't choose my family. I can't change what happened. I can embrace it. I think that's one thing about us, even with this sermon series, is to go into another aspect of what we talked about, is that emotional maturity. You know what I'm saying? Like having that emotional maturity to even let go of some things that that you went through. And sometimes that's harder to hear and say, is like not just let it go, but literally the longer you hold on to it, the longer you're gonna self-sabotage yourself in certain areas. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Yep. The longer you do prolong your future, you prolong what's next for you when you hold into those things.
For me, very similar to what Prophet Joseph was talking about, as far as like the roles of everyone in the family. And as you had preached on Sunday, Prophet Briggs, about the role of everybody in the family. And I started to examine like my family as far as like the dynamic. I don't have any brothers. So I didn't necessarily get how the brothers are supposed to protect and make sure, no one comes in. I have all sisters. So yeah, the relationship, as you said, based off of how my sisters and I are, as much as we will elevate in life. And I started to, think about it. And like, even in this new season of being here at, Immerse City, how God has given me a lot of brothers. Like, and no, not saying I don't got no sisters, but I got a lot of brothers. So it's like, God is essentially is allowing the gaps that I didn't necessarily have in my family, growing up. Now that I'm in this new season, of my upgrades, because y'all not replacements, y'all are upgrades. Right, my upgrades, God has given me brothers to watch and defend, and that's something, even as I was growing up, that I felt like, wow, like I only got all sisters. I know like they could do but so much, but I really wish that I had brothers. And as I have shared, like, even growing up and in my adult life, I've struggled with relationships or friendships with males, so like, and I feel that's because I didn't necessarily have I had my father, but he's an authoritative figure. So it's like drill sergeant all the time, but brothers, it's just different. So now having, God has essentially given me that, like, to in addition, it's not taking away from what happened, as I've grown up, but it's in addition to now. So for me, that really, like, I was like, wow, like God has truly given me, like, I guess a band of brothers. So like it's caused me to feel, even more protected than I've had before.
Yeah, it makes you realize that when you can admit where in your life you have you've lacked in a certain area, like I did not have the experience with brothers, or I did not have the experience with a father. And then when you finally admit that, God, it's like God's like, all right, now I can put somebody in this role, or now I can now bring this person to just to fulfill it, just for for whether it be for a season or whether it be for a lifetime. But it's only when you finally can admit that there is a lacking, and that's literally with everything. Not even like it's when you admit that you lack intellect, if you admit that you lack spiritual knowledge, and then that's when you're open to now. God's like, all right, God's like, all right, now I can start to pour into you. Now I can start to pour in more spiritual knowledge into you. Now I can, but only when you decide that you want to hold on to that insecurity, that's when the devil can start to mess with you in those areas. As soon as he sees that you want to protect that, he's going to start to poke at that thing, and then it's up to you to freely give it away, so that God can actually place somebody in your life. It's amazing. It's just amazing how God even does that.
Even to add to the whole aspect of the upgrade, like I'm just even sitting here thinking now, like the aspect of like kind of to go back what I said earlier, us understanding the household, like when everyone knows their role and their responsibility, there will be no need for the insecurities that some of us face. And that comes from the mother. Oh God. Some of us want to blame the father, some of us want to blame the mother, but what did your brother or your sister do?
Wow.
Right.
And so, like, some of us are growing up in houses for so long, and with family members and sisters and brothers, and we want to blame our mothers and our fathers, a lot of times because of what they have done. But also, too, what about your brother's role and your sister's role and responsibility? They had just a greater responsibility to protect you as much as your brother and your father did. Your mother and your father did. And that's something that you even are teaching me even at a greater capacity. I had a sister, but I didn't grow up with my sister. So I kind of, dealt with the only child thing. I was the only sibling kind of mindset. So I never knew what it was to have brothers to protect me, or to have really a sister to protect. So this is just even showing me, even now on a greater level, like when everyone knows their role and their responsibility in the house, there'll be no need for us to go seek relationships, go seek out validation, go sleep in beds, go, I'm saying, all these things that we go do to seek out that validation because we have our insecurities. So
and then we wouldn't have so many broken homes because everyone knows their relationship. So when we have conversations like this, or when we hear teachings and sermons and lessons like this, we can be the ones that change the trajectory of what's been going on. Because if we really, no matter if we had mommy, daddy, we had everybody in the home, we can look back, and if we really sit down and think about it, we like, yo, we come from some broken homes, like, and even having everybody, and we come from the broken homes because, as as Prophet Joseph said, like everybody didn't necessarily know their role, and we can't really blame anybody because who was teaching them what their role is? And this is where we break that. This is where we break that generational curse by having these conversations. And like, okay, now it's 4 of us sitting here. This is on the live, and everybody is listening, and now they can do better. Like I always say, when you know better, you do better. So for me, now that I know better, and now that I've heard the roles of what everybody's what mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, whoever, now we can teach the next generation. So this is how we break that cycle of children coming from broken homes. Because to be honest, it sometimes it just doesn't make sense as Christians, as people of God, when we say we come from broken homes, and the people that will raise us, some of us as Christians, so so for me, it's like, okay, now we know what the role is. Okay, it's our turn to teach the right way.
Even the aspect of like we made the mistakes already. So like think about that. We've made the mistakes already, so that we could teach the next generation what went wrong. You understand? So it's like I like the aspect of it because I didn't have a brother or a sister. I just had mommy and dad, and so I had to learn a lot on my own about everything. So being the only child and not having siblings, I had to learn how to maneuver in this world without a protection or someone, to teach me the ropes. I had to learn the ropes myself. So yeah.
And with that too,
go ahead.
I was gonna say with that too, we had to learn emotional maturity. And I can definitely relate to that, because not having a brother or a sister, it kind of teaches you. Well, for me at least, I didn't learn how to deal with conflict properly. So, you know what I'm saying, with a brother and a sister, you sometimes we've seen, and we probably heard stories from our friends or family members. You know, they go at it, they throw dukes, they throw bows. You know what I'm saying? They get bloody a little bit. But you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, you always hear that they love each other, or you know what I'm saying, they hug it out. Not every situation or case, but for the most part, the stories I've heard from friends and family members. But yeah, and it teaches you an aspect of emotional maturity, how to use your voice, how to protect yourself, how to, you know, say how you feel, how to, you know what I'm saying, open your mouth and say I need this or I need that. So there's a lot of things in the family aspect that teaches you how to become, you know, healthy and mature as a person, even as a believer.
That's where that introspection comes in again, because it's like, and like, even though when it comes to the brother and sister, it's like, now what did I do wrong in my role as the brother? What did I do wrong as the sister? And like you said, when you learn, you can now break these generational curses and you can cut it off from happening. And it's just amazing. Again, it's just amazing how you can just like we can sit here now and go reflect over everything that we faced, everything that we've went through, and now we can start to see, all right, now how do I build future from here? How do I now move forward? What is it that I don't want my son to experience, my daughter to experience? What don't I want to experience as a parent, or what do I want to experience as a brother or sister? You know what I'm saying? And so it's just amazing how it puts us in there. And so even from, because we were talking about this again with this whole background series of like the I'm grown and I'm so mature and all of this stuff. So from the I'm grown teaching and conversation, what insight did you take away from understanding the difference between being grown and being mature? Like what insights did you take away from that conversation, from that teaching?
I'm grown is like a person saying I'm grown is, I guess you could say, a thought process, is like an attitude in a sense, and being mature is a mindset, and it's a way of being. Because if you think about it, like how, like, you know, how teenagers, how we feel like we grown, we get 21, you feel like you grown, you know, it's just like, it's an attitude thing. It's never something that, you know, it's always or you more than likely always said it in an argument, or, you know, when somebody tried to, I guess you could say, test your gangster, or try to come at you or make you feel like you not an adult, something, you know. It's about, I'm grown, I could do whatever I want to do, you know. I've said it, I've done it. But being mature is a way of being, like, in your thoughts, your actions, your decisions, like, you just as a person, what you do, what you say, is I guess you could say it's a lifestyle of being, you know, of being mature. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, like the person who always wanted to, you know, always wants to help, but never wants help. That's a sign of, that's the I'm grown. Like, I'm grown. I got this.
I can figure it out.
I'm gonna do this on my own. If nobody want to help me, it's fine. But you ain't asked for help. So how is anybody gonna help you if you didn't ask for help? So that's grown as an attitude, and I'm being mature about it, is like, I can't do this by myself. And I even think about it like, okay, we can't do things in our own strength. We gotta ask God to give us his strength. Like, in our weakness, his strength is made perfect. To me, that's a sign of maturity.
Right.
Because it's saying that, Lord, I can't do this by myself, Lord. I can't do this in my own strength. I need your strength. And that's the emotional and the spiritual maturity aspect. Like, when we say, I need help, you know, I can't do this alone, you know. When people say, like, you know, people never got to be successful just by themselves. Like, it took people to help them, you know, to get there. So that's for me.
Yeah. But yeah, like even to add on what Sister Tiffany said, like I thought grown was, I'm paying my bills You know, I'm taking care of what I need to take care of. You know, I'm handling the basic stuff and everything. But as like what she was saying, like I had to understand, because even with me, I'm the only child, like talking to my dad, I used to get into a lot of trouble because I thought I had it all figured out by myself, and I was scared to say, hey, you know, okay, when the pressure was put on me, it was like, oh,
that's it right
I
there.
know I need help, but I don't want to ask for help because I'm grown. I got this. You know what I'm saying? And then I used to get myself in so much trouble, like to the point where I used to have to go to my father sometimes and be like, "No, your dad, I need your help." And he was like, "Well, if you would have came to me before and asked me for help, you would have never been into the situation. You understand? You would have never gotten into the situation." And he's like, "You think you're so grown? You think so? But I can help you. This is the area you need maturity into." And I used to get it all the time, like, "Yo, I got this. And I put so much. I think basically maturity is understanding that the weight that you have people around you that can help you. Understanding that it doesn't mean that, oh, just because I'm grown, I have to carry this battle by myself. And that's what I battle with. I battle with trying to carry everything by myself. And God has been training me. He's putting me in a position where I have to ask for help. And sometimes it's hard to ask for help, but that's the maturity part of it, is understanding that, you know what, I don't have it all together. I need help in this area. I need my brother or my sister or my spiritual father help pick me up and show me what I need to do, because I can't do it by myself. And that's what God is really doing in the season for me. And that's what I got out of this series. And God is really even beating me up with, like, okay, you got it. Now I'm gonna put you in a position where you need to ask for help. Go ahead. And it's like now it's a pride thing. If I don't ask for help, it's
come on. That's the edges, brother Jay.
It's a pride thing. So now I gotta go there and I gotta ask for help. I gotta be like, you know what? I don't got it. Because I'm telling you, this happened to me recently. I had to go to someone and be like, you know what? I don't know how to ask for help. You understand? I didn't know how to ask for help. So I was like, how can, like I went to my spiritual leader and I'm like, I need help. I don't know how to ask for help. He was like, that's all you needed to say. Just ask for help. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help. I'm here to show you the ropes. I'm here to show you how to go. But sometimes we get in our pride and our feelings, and we don't want to ask for help because we're grown. No, grown to be understanding that I don't have this by myself. That's right. That's why God gave Adam a help.
Preach. Come on.
Preach. That's crazy that when you admit your need for help, you decrease the margin of error. You decrease the whole fall to begin with. You block the whole possibility of failing when you admit the need for help. But when you put up a front, you think you got it, you're guaranteed to bust your face. Like, you're guaranteed. It's crazy how, like, and like you said, maturity is literally saying, like, I do need the help in this area. I do need that. I have to admit this. And when you admit that, you unlock a whole nother level of favor, whole nother level of blessing from God.
Yeah. And I think every time I hear the word, like I was thinking about that today, actually, like when I was reading the question, like the aspect of growing up, like, throughout our lives, we've probably been told, I know I've been told, like, oh, you just got to grow up. You got to grow up. But that's literally telling us to grow up, right? But growing up, there's no stability. There's something that needs to be stable for us to, not be moved and not be swayed. Because if you just keep going up in height, it's easier for you to sway back and forth, just like a building that's tall. Like, the more it keeps going up, the more it's going to sway, the more it has the ability to fall. But we keep telling everybody, grow up, keep telling our kids, you got to grow up, you got to grow up, you got to grow up. We're just telling them that they need to keep going up in height, but we don't tell them to keep going up in depth. And that's the thing about being mature, is we need to go in depth. And this is something that me and Prophet Felton kind of, I remember we had this revelation one time about the cross, right? And it's so powerful what the cross is. The cross is not just up, but it's this way. It's height and depth, but it's also width, right? And it's never ending. It's always going to keep going. Like, there's no cap on the cross. Like, it keeps going. And that's something even like with an aspect of eternity. But anyway, I don't want to lose my focus. But we have to go in depth when we become mature. And that's just so powerful, even with the scripture, like, pick up your cross and follow. The cross is never ending. There's no cap on maturity. There's no cap on developing and growing and being solid in Christ and being, grounded in the word. There's no ending to it. And I think sometimes as adults, especially us millennials, we think we found a cap, right? So if we get a job, if we get a house, like, all right, this is my cap. Like, I've reached this level of maturity. I got kids, I got a wife, I got a house, I got cars, I got money. Like, now I'm up there. Now I'm the adult. Now I'm grown up. But it's like, God's like, no, that's not what it means to be mature. That's not what it means to be grown up. And so I think some of us need that understanding that maturity and being grown are two totally different things. How much pressure can you handle? How much weight can you handle? That's a sign of maturity. And I think that's what really penetrated me and hit my heart. It's like, how are you handling conflict? How are you handling when things don't go your way? Are you having a temper tantrum? Have you got the pacifier in your hand, crying like a baby?
Yeah. Even before you even go deeper, just that what you was talking about having depth. When you think about a seed, the seed before it grows down. It starts to reach down. The roots have to go down because the roots have to be depth. They have to go deep, and they have to connect to the source. The source is not in the sky. It's not up here. It's not when you're up in the air. You have to reach down. That's what this, like when you say talking about depth. That's the first thing I thought about. How the roots are. They go as deep as they have to. Roots do not stop growing unless they. The reason why they keep growing is because they keep trying to look for a source.
Right.
They gotta keep going deeper. However deep the water source is, you have to keep going deeper. As you go deeper, that's when you'll be able, like just when you saying to carry the weight. Do you understand, like the tallest trees you see? Do you understand how deep their roots go? Because like you said, that height is so easy to blow you over. You need to be blown over. But the roots go so deep into the ground, they stand for years because their depth is full. Oh man, that was good.
That was a whole word.
It was a whole. I wanted to just, like, as you were talking, Prophet Joseph, like, when you talked about parents, family tell, we always have to grow up. And when you were talking about the house and the kids, like, that's all material things. Like, that's all outside surface things. It's not necessarily talking about like you said, like the in-depth things, like what has been embedded in us. And, this is no shade to anybody's parents, not even mine. But if you really look at it now that we're adults and we see how our parents deal with stuff, you feel like, the question of, like, that's immature. Like, how you're dealing with this situation right now is immature. Like, it's so crazy how this whole family series is just like opened my eyes to see, like, how the ways of being, my interactions in my family were, or how their interactions. I've been looking at my parents like, y'all some petty, immature people, and y'all better get it together, So it's like, of course, I've heard the go to school, get a degree, get a good job, get married, have kids. I did all of that. Did all of it. Before the age of 30, I did all of it.
Wow. Ooh, jeez. Ooh, what happens when what happens? It's crazy when people put that, they project their agenda for your life. What happens when
all of it? It's still immature. It's still not mature the way God needs me to be mature.
You went past the ceiling of what they said.
Wow.
Past it.
That's why it's so important for you to understand your purpose in God. Because there's no cap, there's no ceiling, there's nothing that can hold you in. But people like to hold on to what their parents said or what somebody spoke over them. And when they get lost when they burst that ceiling. It's like, all right, I got what you said, and I still don't see what you're talking about I'm supposed to see. It's because you locked into the wrong voice.
Right. Did everything before the age of 30. And I'm just like, but there's still more. And even with the maturity part, like, when Prophet Felton said, like, in the Black church, like, they always told us what to do, but we never put things into practice. okay, my parents always told me to save. What am I actually saving for?
Yeah.
A rainy day? Okay, it's raining.
A house.
I gotta go to work. Like, what does that mean to save for a rainy day? Like, don't just tell me something. I need you to explain it. I need you to break it down for me. Because when you say to me, oh, you need to save, I'm like, okay. And so then that happens where I struggle financially because my parents didn't say, okay, well, you need to save for college, you need to save for a car, you need to save. Like, the rainy day could be, what if your tire get flat? What if the windows get busted out? What if? And I promise you, the moment I bought a car, if I told you that 2 of my windows got busted out, ain't had no money because my parents ain't teach me certain things. And again, this is no shade. They could only teach me what they knew. But like I said, you know better, you do better. So now I'm here like, oh, I gotta like wipe the slate clean. I gotta do it all over. I gotta make sure I gotta right my wrongs from like 10, 15 years ago because they never taught me how to put certain things into practice. And this is not just financially. This comes with even having relationships with other people. Like, you don't, tell me about certain things. Oh, why should I not do this certain thing? It's just, you better not do it. If I find out that you're doing it, that's it. No, you can't do that. Like, we have to now be in a position in this maturity of like emotional and spiritual maturity. You need to do this because this is gonna yield this particular result.
Right.
That's crazy. When you said that, Sister Tiffany, you said the aspect of a rainy day. And when you said that, the first thing I heard was some of our parents never taught us how to deal with warfare. Because sometimes that rainy day is aspect of like, what do you do when something comes, like, you know what I'm saying? When something comes to distract you or something comes in your life that's like, throws you off or pivots you and things like that. And I think even with the whole aspect of like the foundation, like, I don't know where I'm going here, but I'm just gonna go. But the aspect of like back in the day, when during like the centuries ago, I don't know what century we're trying to go, but like centuries ago, sons were always taught how to be the warriors of the house. Like, they were always taught how to fight. They were always thrown into war. So war became something that you had to know how to do. Like, you had to know how to fight. You had to know how to be a soldier. You had to know how to defend. Like, it was like a mandate for the house to protect your house. And I think some of us never have been taught how to protect our own houses. The reason, because our houses weren't protected, our atmospheres weren't protected. So now we're going into adulthood, and even those who are watching maybe in their teenage years, their atmosphere aren't protected. They're sitting alone in rooms in silence and things like that because no one ever taught them how to protect their atmosphere. No one ever had taught them how to worship, how to pray, or even never may have been taught or told how to do it, but you never seen someone do it. You never seen someone be consistent enough to see things break and things like that. So
it's crazy, especially our generation of millennials. We came. The reason why we have this adapted this "I'm grown" mentality is because a lot of the things that was practiced and passed down from generation to generation kind of failed us when we got to our adulthood. And so it's just like, all right, now that I'm here, I have to now learn how to go another level than where you ever stopped at. And that's just the part that I think that a lot of our generation has to struggle with, and that actually leads to the next question. So with spiritual and emotional maturity being connected, what do you think the church needs to do to help the millennial and the future generation understand about maturity in every area, in the spiritual maturity and in the natural maturity, emotional maturity?
I would definitely say having an open mind. And that is tough for the generation before us. And I've seen it with my own 2 eyes, how it is very tough for a lot of our parents are baby boomers. So you have baby boomers, you have generation X, right? And millennials will be Y, right? Yes, because Gen Z is after us. Yes. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I have it all together. So a lot of our parents are either baby boomers, some of them might be Gen X, majority of them baby boomers. And they come from the generation that is just this one way of being. Like, you have to be this one way. Like, if it's not this one way, it will not work.
Yep.
And oftentimes, I feel like Prophet Joseph now, like, I'm gonna talk. I don't know where we're gonna go with this, but we just gonna go. And oftentimes you see, even when it comes down to churches, they don't necessarily, now they're not necessarily going far like they want to, because they don't have the open mind that the millennials have. Like, yes, we grew up with their ideologies, but then we, like you said, Prophet Briggs, like, now that we're here, we're like, okay, what y'all told us ain't working. And we really have to like break the mold and have this open mind, because if we realistically don't have this open mind, we're not going to the next level. So having an open mind with in churches and leaders, and and you, I feel like, even in order to be emotional mature and spiritually mature, you have to have an open mind. Like, you're not gonna get anywhere without having an open mind. And I think that's where the baby boomers started to lose the millennials, especially when it became of that, when they got to like 18, 19, because they're now seeing the world, they're adults, you can do a lot more things than when you were like much younger. So and I'm talking from my experience too, like when I was 18, I went off to college, I saw a different world. I came back and I'm like, why everybody's still doing the same thing? Like, what are we doing? Like, where we going? And it's like, okay, like the way of the world is not like this anymore, and y'all need to catch up. And the thing is like, they don't want to catch up. Like, they don't want to move because they're stubborn.
And it's like what I was just hearing while you was talking. It's like, could the reason our generation be so creative is because we had to come up with innovative ways to just survive past what we lacked in what we were in.
This is a fact. Yes.
As far as our spirituality, and it's like, it bugs the last generation, because they're like, how, like, these people, they come up with these different things, and they can't, their mind can't even wrap around the fact of how we
can't comprehend it.
Like, but we literally had to adapt to the lack of what we had.
Wow.
Because that brings me into like what I'm trying to say. Like, for us to grow, that we got to understand that this generation, they have to understand the vision. You understand? Sometimes everything that they did before, it's not how we do it now. You understand what I mean? Like, we got to understand that college may not work for everybody. You understand? College may not. There's so many other ways and so many aspects of how to get it nowadays. Being creative, starting your own business and stuff like that. A lot of our parents don't understand it. They know one way. Like my dad, I'm just saying, I know it's talking about my dad. It's, hey, if you ain't gonna go to college, learn a trade. Learn to do something. It's like, like that. I don't want to do that. Like, I got so much dreams, aspirations that I want to take in, I want to do, but you got to understand the vision. And that's what happened. A lot of our parents, the past generation, they don't understand the vision. They understand what we have. They just think, oh, this worked for me. This worked for me. No, what worked for you it's not working for me.
Right.
I'm the blueprint. I got to be different. I'm gonna do things that you never did before, and sometimes I think it's hard for parents to understand that my child is about to do something that I have never done before, and
it does scare them.
It scared them because
Abraham.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Abraham, Noah.
Yeah.
Noah was told to do something that never happened before. He had to build something that there was no documents about. There was, first of all, they never even heard about rain up till this point. Because at that point, the springs was just coming from the ground. So there was no rain. There was no rain. God was telling them, I'm about to send something, rain. Something that he never heard before. What, like rain? I want you to build an ark. You probably never even seen a canoe. You have to build an ark.
But he had to be obedient, though. And that was the spiritual mature part. That he had to be obedient. Because a lot of us, you know, when we like the spiritual like when we're spiritually mature, like you said, like we doing things like Brother Jay said. I was about to call you Prophet Jay, so I guess I'm prophesying. So you you know, so as Brother Jay Sean said, you know, like we're doing things like they never done. And it scares them. Like me, I know I probably scare my parents all the time because I've just become a risk taker, and that risk taking is faith. And in order to get something, like in order, you got to do something you've never done.
Right. Even to say even to piggyback on what you were just saying about them being scared. Scared doesn't always sound like what you think it sounds like. When you tell somebody something, and they be like, I guess it sounds good, or maybe that'll work. Yeah, that's just that you're speaking out of fear. That's fear that because you're not seeing what I'm seeing. You're not seeing the vision that I have. You're not seeing all of that, and so fear definitely sounds different.
That goes back to what you spoke about yesterday, the aspect of insecurity. When you're insecure, you're going to stifle someone's vision. Because now when you're insecure, you deal with jealousy, you deal with envy, you deal with all these things that are rooted in your heart. And then you're going to stifle someone else's vision when they come tell you, hey, I got this idea, I got that, or I got this. Like you said, you're like, I don't know if that's going to work. No, it's not that.
It'd be over the fact that just because you didn't think about it, just because somebody else thought about it before you, now all of a sudden it's like, nah, something wrong. People always love to demonize what they didn't come up with, what they didn't try to, what they didn't first come into, and it's like, no, you have to understand, like just because you see something away, God may have given me a different vantage point.
And a lot of them are scared because they failed. Because they failed and they don't want to be like, oh, it didn't work for me, it can't work for you. No, I'm not you.
Right.
You understand what I mean? I'm not you. And that's what a lot of parents are doing. It's not gonna work. I don't see how to work. That's why you can't tell everybody the vision. You let God know what it is, and you write the vision, make it plain, and you stick to your faith. Don't let everybody's not gonna understand the vision. Everybody's not gonna be there to support the vision. Because a lot of times, a lot of people stop doing things because my parents won't support it or my friends won't support it. No, if you believe in something, you get that tunnel vision, you get that focus, you do it for yourself. Understand that everybody ain't gonna understand the vision. That's the truth.
You know what? A lot of my business friends and a lot of people who like entrepreneurs who make, the money that they want to make, they always say that their parents or their family didn't understand what they were doing until they started seeing the money. Like they started to see the lifestyle of what the vision that they had, came to fruition. Like when they started to see, I guess, like the house or the car or the things that they were able to afford and to do, they didn't get on board. They didn't see, like, and they're like, oh, like, and that happened to me too. Like when my business started bringing in money and things of that nature, my father was like, oh, okay. Like, and I'm just looking at like, do you know I've been doing this for like 7 years at this point? I've been hustling and grinding, and like because you're now seeing the fruit of my labor, now you can get on board. Why do we have to see the fruit to, like, why is it that they have to see the fruit to get on board? Especially as Christians, and especially we're supposed to be spiritually mature, because then we got to go back to the word. I think of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So if God gave me this vision, and another thing, they tend to not, and it is so weird because I've had this conversation that because God showed up in their life one particular way, they feel like God is supposed to show up in my life or in our lives that way. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. Because what your purpose is and what my purpose is are two different things. I don't live in your shadow. I don't live to do what you did. I'm supposed to do greater than what you did. Yes. And since you did all right, I gotta do even better.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, you have to trust God in my life. You have to trust that the God that you raised me on, the God that I've come to learn about for myself, that you have to trust that same God that everything is going to be all right. But then we can be grown, or let me not say grown. we can be adults and mature, but they still look at us as children.
Mhm.
So it's all jaded.
And this speaks to the difference between emotional maturity and spiritual maturity. Because when you're emotional, you're looking for something tangible. You're looking for something that you can see, touch, smell, feel, or whatever. When you're spiritually mature, you understand the aspect of things happening without you, that is not near that is not revealed to the naked eye. Because when we're living our spirit, we're living off of faith. We're living off of what we don't see. We serve a God we don't see. We understand, just like when Elisha said to his servant, remove the scales from his eyes to show him that everything that's around him. You don't know what's working on your behalf.
Cool.
And it's crazy because we had to literally learn a different level of faith. We operated, and it's crazy because I was thinking about just as the generation, God was the master creator, the master innovator. And it's like we decided to take on that type of role from him. But it shows that when if you're in your emotions, the thing that you will create is going to be something that you want to see that's tangible. But can you create something that generations and generations it continues to change? That even if you don't see it happening now, you know that you're sending ripples through the next generations that's going to change these different generations.
That's good. That's good, Prophet. That's good.
And so I know we're getting close to our closing time. So I just want to, we just to FYI to let everybody know, our next series is going to be about focus. Man, woo! I'm excited for this one. This one is if you think that the Family Ties was a tug of war with you and your spirit, I know focus is definitely going to tug. And so before we get off, I want you guys to just say to just give us what you think that the series is going to touch on. What do you think it's going to be about, and why do you think it's important for us to understand to even talk about focus and be able to make that an importance for next month?
Yeah, I started. I just think the next series focus is needed because we're moving in a portion where we begin so unfocused, we begin so distracted about so many things, and we're not understanding that God, the vision that God has for us. You understand? Sometimes we just get distracted about the things of this world, and understanding that in this time period we got to have, like I know I said it. I did one of the motivations, Friday morning motivations. I'm telling you, those are coming back soon, so look out for those Friday motivations. In this season, we got to have tunnel vision. Like Kobe Bryant, he had tunnel. His focus when he was playing the game of basketball. He was so focused. He get in this place where it's called tunnel vision, where he wouldn't see anybody around him. You understand what I mean? He would only see the vision and what he needed to do. Like he would go out there and play the game. And the game he scored 81 points. He said that he was so focused that people were talking around him and he didn't hear nobody. He didn't hear nobody. He didn't see nobody. All he was worried about was the game because his mind was focused on what he had to do. And in this season, we got to be focused on what we need to do because so many times, so many things are around us to distract us, to take us off the goal of what God wants us to do. And we need to get focused because focus is pivotal. Part of maturity is focus.
Wow.
It's being focused. You being focused and understanding what God wants for you, and what God needs for you. Because so many times we want to put what we want to do, and God is like, that's not what I want you to do. I need you to stay focused in this area because what I'm about to bring you, you need to be more mature and be more disciplined in this matter. So now I got to deal with your focus because I need you to be disciplined. Because what I'm about to give you, I can't let you drop it.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is so important because what's stealing our focus, you know what I'm saying? And I think for me, I remind myself all the time of like, even when I'm supposed to be doing things that I'm not supposed to be doing, whether it be praying, reading, or, you know, things around the house, stuff in my job, things like that. Like what's stealing my focus? What's taken away from me, you know, completing tasks or completing things and understanding that the things that are stealing my focus are roots that I need to unroot or I need to, you know, bring up. So I'm excited just to get my focus back so I can see everything that God has for me.
Don't worry, Prophet Briggs. I'm gonna keep my response brief. I think this next focus series is essentially how do we focus in the midst of chaos. I think that it's very easy to focus when things are going well. But how do we focus when things around us are in an uproar? Or how do we focus when we are in warfare? And because as we are going to new levels, there will be new devils. So how do we focus when all the other stuff is going on? So that's my piece.
That's good. How do you focus in the midst of chaos? Can you hear his voice out of all the voices, out of all the other noise? So I'm grateful that you guys again came on here on this midweek with me, and you had this conversation with me. I think you counted it not robbery to come sit with little old Prophet Briggs and have this recap. I can't wait till the end of our focus series when we do this again, and I'm excited for the focus series. So again, you guys, thank you again. Have a good night, and I'm going to go further into our midweek for tonight. And so again, I'm just grateful that they came on and they had that conversation. Listen, if you receive something, if you love this recap, just tell us in the comments what you got, even from here, the insight that you got, even from this recap. And right now, you have the perfect opportunity to we're gonna do our another part of worship, which is our giving, and you can now. You have two different ways to give. We have Emerge City Give. Excuse me. We have three different ways to give. We have Cash App, which is $ Emerge City Give. We have also emergecity.org, our website, which is emergecity.org/give. So you have those two different ways to give. Again, we would like to thank our apostle for having us on the Open Network. We hope that even the people that were watching on the Open Network, they receive something from even this recap. And if you get a chance, you can definitely jump over to YouTube and definitely listen to the different sermon series from Ecity throughout our whole Family Matters. And so I am again grateful that you guys came with us and you sat with us during this midweek pour. We are excited about what is coming next. We have some great conversations coming next month, in the month of April. We have some great sermons coming up in the month of April, and we're talking about focus. So even now, start to know who you're about to tag, who you need to share this with, because we are definitely going into a season where focus is definitely pivotal. And so I'm getting ready to sign off. I thank you guys again for coming on. And listen, come back. We're back here every Wednesday, right here on our Emerge City page, and you can come every Wednesday 7:30, and you can come and join with us, and you can be part of the teaching or part of the conversation. Again, thank you. We love you. Have a great night.